Alright, I just finished reading Kindling a Native Spirit, Sacred Practices for Everyday Life by Denise Lynn. Kindling a Native Spirit deepens your connection to the mysterious natural forces around you. International lecturer and healer Denise Lynn is a member of the Cherokee Nation and has gained wisdom from native cultures around the world, including the Zulu in Africa, the Maori in New Zealand, and the Aborigines of Australia, as well as Native American tribes in North America. In this groundbreaking book, Denise reveals the power of ancestral wisdom to uncover your authentic self and your connection to others and the earth. When you ignite your native spirit, your intuition and sense of self expand exponentially. Gateways to spiritual realms open and life force energy fills you. Denise shares much of the wisdom she's received over the years from revered teachers, as well as the benefits of incorporating ancient practices and techniques into the modern day world. You'll learn how to discover your true name and awaken spirit within you. Connect with your personal spirit animal, embark on spirit journeys, and experience vision quests. In addition, there are step-by-step instructions on how to make a drum, a rattle, a dream catcher, and your own medicine bag, as well as the talking stick that I made if you look at my YouTube channel. Denise will also help you unearth secret methods to call upon your ancestors for assistance and guidance. Learn how to shape-shift, tap into your ability to call animals, plants, and spirit, harness the power of the medicine wheel to bring healing and wholeness, and much more. So my review, I get 5 out of 5 stars. Excellent read. I have read this book twice now. It was very personally for me, and I am a distant relative to the author and Cherokee tribe, covering many aspects of native cultures across the globe. With her own experiences, this book is a testament to native spirit. It gives lessons on crafting native objects and other aspects of the cultures like ceremonies or sweat lodges. Very inspirational to my personal and career developments. So 4.35 overall out of 102 ratings for the book. And then I'm going to read some from the book here that is very important to me. Angels in Native Cultures. Although it seems that every native culture is replete with myths and stories about fairies and little people, there are a scant few instances of what are called angels in Western traditions. However, in the Cherokee lore, there is the Nunahe, a race of immortal spirit people. In the Cherokee language, the word Nunahe means the people who live anywhere, but it has also been translated as the people who live forever. The Nunahe look just like people, but they can appear and disappear at will. When they made themselves visible, they looked and acted just like other Cherokees. The Nunahe were said to be very helpful to the Cherokee and would guide those who had lost their way in the forest, especially during the winter. The Nunahe would shelter lost individuals in their warm dwelling until the person was ready to return home. The Nunahe were also said to have warned the Cherokee of danger and protected them in times of need. One of the most well-known stories tells of how they helped the people just before the Trail of Tears in 1838, when the Cherokee were forced by President Jackson, a Democrat, to leave their homeland and walk to Oklahoma, which was 2,200 miles in land and water routes. The total walk over 9 states was almost 1,200 miles. According to the legend, the Nunahe arrived at a Cherokee village before the removal and told the people to be prepared to leave in 7 days. They said something catastrophic was about to occur for the Cherokee Nation. It was worse than anything that they could imagine, so it would be best if people went to live with the Nunahe. 7 days later, the Nunahe returned for the people and led them to a large stone against the mountain. With ease, the Nunahe rolled the stone away, revealing an entrance. As they peered into the passageway through the mountainside, the Cherokee saw an incredibly radiant, lush place. Some people rushed through the mountain passage without ever looking back. Some were afraid and turned away. The people who remained outside were later forced to leave their homes and go on the long trek to Oklahoma. It's believed by many that the people who stayed with the Nunahe were protected from the United States soldiers finding them, and it's from this group of Cherokee that some of the present-day eastern band of Cherokee who still live on their native land have descended. It's difficult to tell if this is a myth. However, Cherokee lore is replete with numerous stories of encounters with the Nunnehe. Although there are some stories in native cultures, such as that of the Nunnehe, which seem to mirror the Western view of angels, for the most part, rather than gaining inspiration and solace from the angels associated with the soaring cathedrals of Europe, indigenous people are more likely to find their guidance from connecting to their ancestors, totem allies, nature spirits, or grandmother earth and grandfather sky. Alright, so now the second one I wanted to read to you. Becoming an earth keeper. Stepping into your role as an earth keeper means that you begin to live in right relation with the world around you. You walk in harmony with the natural world, and you literally feel the pulse of the earth within you. And as a result, the spirit of the planet blossoms in your soul. The rivers are your blood. The wind is your breath. You'll begin to sense the world around you in a different way. Your awakening as an earth keeper will be palpable. In unseen yet tangible ways, you'll sense the profound effect you have on others and the planet as a whole. One small shift can change everything. As John Muir said, when we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. One single shift can have far-reaching results, whether it's in the physical or spiritual realms. When one stone is added or subtracted from a stream, it can forever alter its course. A similar thing also occurs in consciousness. If even one person shifts their consciousness and activates their inner native spirit, the world changes. In the Aboriginal view, everything leaves a record in the land. Every meaningful life event and every activity creates a kind of vibrational echo that can be felt far into the future. Your consciousness counts as you plant seeds of compassion, love, and support. They will blossom for future generations. Here's an example from the natural world of the impact that one shift can make. By 1926, all the wolves in Yellowstone National Park had been killed. As a result, elk and deer proliferated without their natural predators. Since one thing had been removed from the ecosystem, the entire ecology changed. Then, between 1995 and 1997, 41 wolves were reintroduced into Yellowstone. Although this was a small number of wolves for such a large area of over 3,000 square miles, something remarkable began to happen. An amazing explosion of biodiversity occurred as a result. Wolves are predators and they take life, but they also give life to an environment. When there were no wolves, there were too many deer and elk, and they overgrazed the valleys. As soon as the wolves arrived, elk avoided valleys where they would have been easily prey. So brushes, flowers, plants, and trees grew. Aspen and willow groves sprung up where there had been almost barren land. The landscape was dramatically altered in just a few years. The new trees provided cover for large numbers of birds, and the berries on the trees provided additional food for the bears. The rivers no longer had their banks trampled down by the elk, so pools formed, and the rivers became more fixed in their course. And the water became clearer. Beaver then increased their dams, and more otters, muskrats, and ducks moved in. The wolves also hunted some of the coyotes, which meant more mice survived the appetites of the coyotes, which meant more bald eagles and hawks that eat the mice. And the dwindling population of foxes increased because there were fewer coyotes to hunt them. One small shift made a huge difference. In native tradition, there's a continued awareness of the effect of our actions on the generations ahead. For example, one should never make a major decision without considering the effect on the seventh generation to follow them. How very different our world would be if we all adhered to this way of thinking. We would still have lush rainforests, clean water, and clear air. These are physical things, but the native consciousness and awareness that we cultivate within ourselves is also a part of our mystical lineage. As an earth keeper, the clarity, strength, focus, and passion that you ignite within yourself is not a small force. It can indeed be your bequest to the future. And that's the book.